Mapable USA podcast, where we put you on the map. This is Ron Costa, broadcasting live in the Mapable USA studios in Las Vegas. And as usual, the show is being hosted by myself and Ron Sukenik from Simply Go Public. Ron, how's it going today?
It's going great. I'm sure it's a little bit warmer in Las Vegas. We're based out of Indianapolis with an office also in Vegas and also in Birmingham, but always a treat to be with you, Ron. Happy New Year once again to you, if I haven't
absolutely.
said it.
Between me and you, we've got the whole United States covered in time zones, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you, we've had some great guests. And, you know, everybody is loving this equity crowdfunding space. But you know, the one thing that we know is you got to be able to build that crowd before you build the funding.
We talk about that all the time. Yeah,
and we talk about what it takes. It takes money to make money, and there's not even a question whether that anybody that's listening that has a need to get into equity crowdfunding, you've got a budget for marketing. And I am thrilled, Ron, to have with us today certainly a leader in target. We're going to call it target advertising. Let me make a quick introduction. Happy to get Caleb Huey on the phone today for the podcast, but Creative Direct Marketing Group, Inc., known as CDMG, is a leader in target advertising. They're a full-service direct response advertising and digital marketing group, and they have one goal in mind. How do they increase response? How do they market your presence? And how do they push profits through accountable advertising? They've been doing it for over 40 years, Ron, and they've helped clients. I mean, they deal with startups, the Fortune 500 companies, and they help them in all areas of direct marketing. But let me tell you who we have today on the call. We have Caleb Huey. He's the Vice President, and I love this title, Creative Strategy at CDMG Group. Been there over 10 years. He's been on TV. You may have seen him on TV, spoken at conferences, and he helps companies grow. But here's where we love Caleb. In addition to helping companies sell products and services, he's a Jobs Act crowdfunding expert.
Perfect.
And he knows how to help companies worldwide launch, grow, and dominate markets. What a great introduction, Caleb. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Ron. I appreciate that.
And I hope I said that correctly, but my God, just take a moment, Caleb, and I know that you're in this business that your father had started with, and you've got such great clients, but how did this all come together? Did I miss anything on how good you guys are at what you're doing, and share some of the uniqueness of what you're doing?
Yeah, well, my father, Craig, started the agency over 40 years ago, and I've been able to work with him over the last 10 years and helping us take advantage of some of the newer technologies that are available. But 40 years ago, we had our start in direct mail, TV, and radio, and we were able to transition over the last 10 years into tapping into big databases, using metadata that's collected on consumers and using that metadata to find the right targeted audience, people that are interested in buying a certain product or service. But this all goes back to the golden days of direct mail, where my father was able to help launch investment newsletters. He helped launch The Motley Fool. He helped launch the premium service for TheStreet.com. He helped launch the largest privately held publishing company, Agora Publishing. And he helped put together all of the advertising, soliciting the investment community on these model portfolio newsletters that tell you what stocks these experts are looking at, what they're adding to their portfolio, what they're subtracting from their portfolio, and giving them that kind of generalized overview of the market and what they're paying attention to. It's not personalized investment advice. It's an investment newsletter that's generally focused on good investment ideas from their perspectives. But within that, we were able to really build a niche in how do we identify the right person that's going to subscribe to that information. They're going to pull out their wallet and pay for that information to know what to be investing in and what not to be investing in. And because of our expertise in building those investment newsletters, when this law was passed, it was a natural fit for us to move to help issuers that are looking to solicit these investors and crowdfund themselves and to identify the people that would be likely to become an investor.
Yeah, and thank you, Caleb. And I really want to know when this really got your attention. You know, we talk about the Jobs Act, and of course that's an acronym for Jump-Starting Business Startups, and that was a game changer. But it really got your attention, Caleb. And why? Why did it get your attention, and what opportunities did that open up for companies that are expanding and growing to take advantage of it?
Sure. Often I've run into, as an ad agency, an entrepreneur that has the best idea, and they don't have the funding to scale that idea to where it could be. So I believe it was 2012 when I first read an article about the proposed idea of crowdfunding becoming legal under the Jobs Act, and it was passed and then enacted, and we had our first client lined up. It was a real estate crowdfunding fund, and they were offering investors 10% on their money, and this was during a time where rates were not particularly attractive elsewhere, and people were still a bit shaky looking at the stock market because it was still a little too close to 2008. So we were able to put together the marketing materials for this real estate crowdfunding offer and mail it out to accredited investors, high net worth investors, and we were able to help them raise their $10 million filing. The whole purpose of the fund was to loan money to people that wanted to buy and flip real estate. Real estate's done very well under these crowdfunding laws. Investors love that space, and we were able to help this company right out the gate take advantage of the new law back in 2013.
Well, which is fantastic. Let me ask you this. I'm curious. I know that you were, again, you're great at direct marketing. So is there a combination on how you approach this database, these databases to drive people to opportunities? Is it through direct mail and digital marketing through email, or is it just more into direct marketing with a direct marketing piece?
Sure. The landscape has changed dramatically since the 40 years ago that my father started this agency. Today we can tap into big data. We can tap into metadata. Metadata has been in the news. There's a lot of metadata collected on every individual. There are big data companies like Oracle that house transactional metadata on consumers and what they purchase. So we can find commonalities within certain purchase or psychographs of people, and we can set parameters to say, I want somebody that has a high net worth, that has a proclivity to buy X, Y, and Z, and happens to also spend money on certain investment products and services. We can use these bits of metadata to find the right audience for a specific kind of investment opportunity.
Yeah, now, Caleb, when you're talking about the metadata, are you talking about keystrokes at a laptop type of thing, or work that's being done on social media profiles, or just Google searches, or how is that data accumulated?
There's a lot of different kinds of metadata. There's search metadata. What are people searching for on Google or Bing? There is metadata collected within Facebook. What are you clicking on? What kind of information are you consuming? What keywords are you then posting in response to the information that you're consuming? These are all very valuable, but what we focus on are the transactional metadata points. What are you buying? What are you buying with your credit card? What are you buying multiple times? And how much are you spending on different categories and segments? I can tap into metadata databases of people that have investment brokerage accounts, and how much they spend or transact in that brokerage account annually. So I know that one investor might invest $20,000 a year in total, and another might be investing $1 million a year. Pairing that with their total net worth, I can find people who are willing to take a bit more of a risk and people that maybe are a bit more of a conservative investor. Conservative investors tend to like things like real estate or gold or hard assets, and other more risk-savvy people that have a higher risk appetite, they might be more willing to jump into something equity-based for a startup. So we can use these different parameters to find the right kind of psychograph based on their actual purchasing decisions, not just information they're consuming or things that they're searching out on the internet. You might find a person via metadata collected on Facebook or Google that looks very similar to your ideal customer or prospect, but that person might be a tire kicker and never actually transact. So we're more interested in the people that are actually going to make a transaction.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's great. It's great information. It's amazing how you guys do that, and it's also really key because you're attracting the right people to the right opportunity. Like a lot of these guys will put their projects up on a funding portal, for example, and it sounds like what you can do is you can drive these people who would be interested in a particular project based on this metadata that you're talking about. And if that's got to dramatically rise conversion rates too, I would imagine, if you're really targeting the right people.
Absolutely. So I'm a former owner of a crowdfunding platform, and you are exactly right. We have to tap into the right audience that's going to be interested in a particular kind of offering and drive them to that page for them to transact.
Interesting. So,
go ahead, Ron.
Okay, I was going to say, now you're talking about driving the right people out there. This has got to be some kind of a time-consuming process, too. Like if a client hires you to do this job, how long does it take before they start seeing, let's say increased conversion rates, for example?
Time and planning is certainly key in this process. People that are looking to do a Reg A+, for instance, they're going to have an approval process with the SEC. It's going to take 3, 4, 5, 6 months at times for them to be approved by the SEC to go live with their marketing to bring in the new investors into their company. I always tell prospective clients and clients that have worked with us for a long time know that it takes us about 90 days from them hiring us and us having a brainstorming session to the finished product, disseminating all of the marketing materials, integrated marketing materials at that. In that 90-day process, we go through multiple meetings to refine our copy and our messaging to make sure that we're properly articulating the company's unique selling proposition and why an investor should want to become an investor in their company. We go through multiple rounds of refining data models to make sure that we're going to tap into the right community. And we make sure that there's continuity throughout all of the marketing that we're doing. So direct mail piece that is sent to the pool of prospects is articulating a compelling message that brings them to a landing page that pays out with that message that's being articulated in that direct mail piece, and that we have digital marketing that's also articulating that kind of teaser copy to bring them to the landing page, and for that message to still be relevant to get the right person excited enough to become an investor.
I love it. I think that's amazing. And 90 days sounds about perfect. One of the things I've always mentioned to a lot of companies, they look at some of these Reg A projects that really are not doing that well, and really I think one of the reasons is that their marketing approach is bad. They're bringing the wrong type of people to these portals, and they're not converting based on that message. And if you guys can create a really targeted message for a targeted investor to a specific project, then that's a home run right there for these companies. People have to realize that doing it the right way